Hi everybody, Jane here. Now, in today's online classroom, I want you to help me. So as you can see, I have some work to mark. Now, this work has been written by one of you from class, and you've written it as a story, and I'm not quite sure. Is this little story about a pet dog, a cat, a rabbit, or something else? Now, the reason I'm not sure is because we need to look at what the sentences mean. So, if you can help me, we're going to begin by reminding ourselves, what do we have to have as a sentence? So, to be a sentence, it has to make sense on its own, by itself. The order of your words is very important. If you put your words in the wrong order, it's not an accurate sentence. And you do need punctuation. That's really important to help the reader understand what you meant to write. For this lesson then, I'm going to ask you to help me with a piece of writing to work out how to change it so that it's accurate, and then I'm going to leave you with some questions. So let's begin with the piece of writing. So this is Joe's homework. We pushed open the door. There was nothing but darkness we see. Then something moved, something slithery and rustled about. What was it? Rat. Arif hung back scared, but I wanted to see what was in there. Now, there is quite a lot of information in that homework, Joe, but I think we need some help with the sentences. So where I've placed a blue marker is where I think the second sentence should go. So I think the first sentence should be, we pushed open the door. And then the second sentence should be, there was nothing but darkness. And I think that would make sense. So we have a full stop after the word door. And then we need a capital T. We pushed open the door. There was nothing but darkness. I can't write we see in that sentence. It doesn't make sense, does it? There was nothing but darkness we see. So I'm going to take out those words. And now we've got two sentences. We pushed open the door. There was nothing but darkness. Now the next sentence is all about something moving, and I think we might be able to use most of the words if we add a comma. Let's have a look. Then something moved, comma, because that's the first part of the sentence, and I want to add some extra information, so I need another comma. Something slithery. And I really don't like the words that follow and rustled about, so I'm going to take those out. And I'm going to leave and, because now I have, then something moved, comma, something slithery, comma, and if it's all right, Joe, I think I'd like to add this word. Large. Let's see if that makes sense. We pushed open the door. There was nothing but darkness. Then something moved, something slithery and large. Yes, I quite like that. And the next bit that you've written, Joe, could be a question. What was it? So what do we need for that question? Well, we need a capital W. So that begins the sentence. What was it? To end the sentence, we need the question mark. So that's a good sentence. Now let's see what we have. We pushed open the door. There was nothing but darkness. Then something moved, something slithery and large. What was it? Now, I don't think it makes sense to start the next sentence with the word rat. So let's get rid of that word. And I think the next information we could use as a full sentence. But first of all, we need to add a comma so that the first part of the sentence that we're going to use is separate. Now, do you remember when we did work on simple sentences and we said when you put the word but in for the first part of that sentence you could add a comma? Let's see if it works. Yes, that's where it would go. Arif hung back scared, but I wanted to see what was in there. Now we need something to end that sentence. Yes, it could be a full stop, or you could add an exclamation mark there, couldn't you? So that's the first part of Joe's homework. And Joe, it was a really good story, but we needed to make sure the words were in the right order. We used a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence and a punctuation mark at the end. So we've used question mark and full stop. Now, let's have a look if we can guess what animal Joe's talking about. Well, I thought rabbit first of all. We pushed open the door. There was nothing but darkness. Then something moved. Yes, because rabbits move a lot, don't they? Something slithery and large. Well, I think that rabbit's quite large. What else could it be? Well, it could be a dog. Dogs move about a lot. Dogs can be quite large. Probably you would mention its eyes in the darkness, I think, if it was the dog. Well, it could be a cat, because that cat's quite large. However, I think even though all those animals move, dogs move, cats move, rabbits move, it's the word slithery that I think is really important, because the meaning of the word slithery is the way it moves, and that doesn't describe a dog, a cat or a rabbit. Do you know what we use the word slithers for? Yes, a snake, and it could be a large snake. So let's just go back over the key words. Moved. Well, that could have been any animal. And large. Well, that could have been any animal. But Jo gave us a clue in her writing because she used the word slithery. Now, slithery is something that's wet or smooth and it slides easily over things, and that really describes that snake. So the rest of Jo's writing is quite accurate. So let's have a look at what she's written. What was it? Arif hung back scared, but I wanted to see what was in there. My eyes were getting used to the darkness now. I kicked the door open further. Piles of old papers lay on the floor. They were brown and dried up looking. So that's the middle of Jo's piece of writing, where she's added far more descriptions so we can start to think about what faced her. And then she added a sentence at the end, and this is what she wrote. I didn't like it, nor did Arif, who came in standing behind me, breathing in my ear. I wished we had a torch but we didn't. And the last sentence, what was it? So well done, Joe. That was a really good piece of homework. And I like the fact that you made it into a story. And we did say in the lessons, didn't we, that we are going to put together some of our own ideas for what's happened to us during the time that we've been on lockdown. I really like the way that Joe made it quite entertaining for me by imagining that there was a snake in the room when she went in. But I really thought at the beginning it would be about her pet dog. So we need to move on to look at some questions. Now, do you remember that I talked to you about how when we're speaking in English, we often use the word dice for single and plural, but in actual fact, this is a die. We don't use that word anymore for one, but it really should be one die. And two dice. So when you hear English people speaking, we usually say dice. Pass me the dice, please. So here I have on my desk a conversation dice. When I roll this dice, I can stop it and look at the question. So each side has a question, and we're going to look at what some of those questions might be. So we're looking at the question word what, and I'm going to leave you with some questions that we can talk about the next time that I see you. What is the most important thing you own? That's quite an interesting question, and I will really look forward to hearing some of your answers in class. What games do you like to play? That's also interesting because whilst we're on lockdown, some of us are playing games that perhaps we haven't played for a while. And one of you told me the other day that you were playing Monopoly. So I think that's quite a good game to play. And what subject do you like? So I'm hoping that the answer to that one is English, but we'll see when we see you after lockdown. Now, in the meantime, we're going to continue with online classes. But for today, that's the end of class. Bye now. See you soon.